Good morning. I'm here with Avery Hill at Good Coffee on Raleigh. Avery Hill just released her second album. She is a two-time Kerrville New Folk finalist in 2016 and 2019. Her first album, Dreams and Ghosts, a family album, was released in 2015. Almost 10 years later, we have been anxiously awaiting her second album, which she just released, The One Who Remembers. She is a ukulelean extraordinaire. Euchrestra, jams, lessons, all of them fill the house. Artist, musician, teacher, and mom, please welcome Avery Hill.
Thank you, Bob. It's lovely to join you.
Well, this is an amazing album to me. It reminds me of a movie that I saw years ago, and I wonder if you know it. It's called The Songcatcher.
Oh, yes, I do know that film. Mm-hmm.
Tell me, what you remember about that film?
Ooh, gosh, not a lot. I remember watching it a long time ago, but my recollection is it's about ethnomusicologists in rural Appalachia. I want to say like North Carolina, maybe Virginia. I forget exactly where the state lines were at that time, but yeah, it was centered on the story of a woman who was recording the traditional music of the folks who lived up in the mountains there. Well, am I remembering that correctly?
You remembered it exactly
Okay,
right.
Good. It's been a long time.
Well, what I want to do is I want to play a clip from the title song from your new album.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
The mist on the river hovers below. These bluffs are enough to let me let go. The warmth of the air despairs as it hangs all through this valley as the moonlight moans.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's so interesting that, I hadn't thought about the Songcatcher, but the place where I was when I started writing that song was in a very similar landscape. I was out touring with some friends of mine, and we had a little bit of a break, and we were in a series of little cabins in Missouri, rural Missouri. And we had, if I remember correctly, we had a couple days where we weren't performing, and so we just decided to do a bit of writing on our own, and did this exercise that our good friend and songwriting teacher Matt Meehan has often done, where we just picked 3 random words. I went to books on the shelf and found a different word in each book, and took those 3 words back to my little cabin and started to write a song. If I looked at the lyrics of the song, I could probably remember what the words were, and it may be that I ended up throwing one of them away at some point. But I do remember one of the words was opaque, and that comes up in the bridge of this song. But yeah, so I was out in the woods, and there was a great big bluff that looked down onto the river. It was just this beautiful natural area, and I think the thing about writing sometimes is we just have to kind of write our way into the meaning that we find in things. So I didn't necessarily set about to write the song about anything in particular, but as I was playing around with the words and responding to my environment, the meaning sort of came with the music and with the lyrics.
You have 3 songs, or 4 songs, Echoes 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, I wouldn't call them songs. I would call them echoes, but yes.
Well, explain that.
So what I wanted to do with these echoes was, the album as a whole is really about not just the person who remembers, right, the one who remembers, but just the act of remembering. And I wanted to capture in sound, what does it sound like to remember something? Or what are the moments in which we start to bring the past together with the present, right? Because we know that these memories sort of hit us at a variety of different times, and you never really know what's going to spark that. And I think of these different moments that sort of open up the portal, if you will, between the past and the present, and that's what those echoes are meant to do, sort of a snippet of everyday life that I have experienced in my own life that have taken me back to that same kind of moment in the past, in some way, right? They sort of connect our memories that we carry with us into that present moment that is sort of guiding the present day.
Well, in many of the songs, including Echo, they all start with a snippet of something.
There's a lot of found sounds, natural landscape sounds, yes.
Few albums have ever done that I've ever heard.
Sure. Well, I'm certainly not the first to try it. I will say one of the artists that has also integrated found sounds like this is an artist called No Boy. They're Julian Saporiti is the name of the artist. No Boy is the name of the project, and that was I think listening to his albums really helped me think about an album being much more than just a collection of songs. Obviously the songs are enough and they stand alone, I think, as strong songs, but there's something about the auditory experience of listening to how songs are connected to each other, or it's just a really unique experience or a unique opportunity to see what a song can do. And I think it also may be a little bit of my personal protest against the commodification of music and wanting to bring back the concept album, but really it was just an exploration of what music can do in this format.
Well, what came first, the sound, the introduction, or the lyrics
of this particular song?
No, of many of the songs.
Of many of the songs. Well, as a writer, I tend to be more lyric driven, where I will start with a lyrical idea and then at some point try to find the music that best complements that. That isn't how it always goes, but by and large, that's sort of how I work, and it's just a matter of how soon does the music come in, right? Do I have all the lyrics, the whole lyrical idea out there, and then bring in some musical ideas, and that always shapes what happens with the lyrics? Or do I have a lyrical snippet and immediately bring the music in to help shape the rest of it? That really varies from song to song.
Right. So then you would write the song, and then you'd find the intros that were in those?
All of the found sounds on this album came much later, right? I wrote all of these songs actually a long time ago. These were songs that I had originally thought, maybe their time had passed, they'd served their purpose, maybe I wouldn't actually ever record them. Then we all went through a global pandemic. I, was a young mother at that point, meaning a mother to a young child, and I realized how important these songs were for giving me some stability and some strength and some focus. And so I thought, I think I really do need to capture this moment in time, and wanted to lay these down to press. And so I didn't think about the echoes or any of those extra sounds until I started to think about what do I want the audience to experience when they listen to these songs. So that came much later.
Interesting. So where is West Meadow Beach?
Oh, West Meadow Beach is on the north shore of Long Island, where I am originally from. It's a beach I played on countless times in close to Stony Brook, New York, where I grew up. Yeah.
And First Flight, the intro to First Flight is... Tell me about the intro.
Yeah, okay, so First Flight is the echo that leads into the song, The Good That I Can Do. Mm-hmm. And that is an excerpt from the exit interview that my grandfather gave to the U.S. Air Force when he retired. He retired the same year that I was born. So I never knew him as a working individual. I always knew him as a retired grandpa who had lots of great projects, but I knew him as somebody who worked in his shop on a variety of different wood projects and any number of things, and he kept up with different communities that he was a part of. But he was a 3-star general in the Air Force, and this interview was really the first chance that I ever got a chance to hear his reflections on his work. I never talked to him about his work, and I really wish that I had, because I was a young person sort of coming up into adulthood during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and I had a lot of questions about what was happening, the information we were getting, information we were not getting, and I really wanted to be able to talk to him about that. But that was not the relationship that we had, and he also passed away at some point in the middle there. So I never got a chance to have the conversation with him about his work and to share my questions with him about it. So this was sort of my way of trying to find space to make that conversation. And I wanted to bring in his voice and to capture from his perspective what brought him into that work in the first place. So the snippet is the story of the very first time that he ever piloted an airplane, and I wanted to capture that excitement for him. And then on the other end of it comes the song "The Good That I Can Do," which is my conversation with him.
So where did you find the clip, and when?
Oh, it's part of the U.S. Air Force Oral History Program. My brother shared the link with me. They're all sort of in this public domain archive that he was able to find and download. It's a lot. It's like 7 or 8 tapes that I listened.
Did you search for it, or was it indexed? It was easy to find.
Do you know, my brother gave it to me, so I'm not quite sure where he found it. But it's out. I mean, it's out there. I had to go find, obviously, some information to properly credit it for the album. But I don't remember where my brother found it. He just passed it along to me.
Yeah, I know of the project. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I just want you to talk about "Roll Down the River."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the last song of the album. That's a little bit of a pivot song, I would say. You know, most of the songs are looking backward. Well, I should say the bookends, "The One Who Remembers," the title track, and "Roll Down the River," are sort of the bookends of my own sort of voice coming through in the present moment, whereas all the songs in between are very much sort of a looking back and thinking about the people who raised me and these sort of moments from my childhood that have come back to give me strength in adulthood. So if "The One Who Remembers" sort of sets up all of the memories, "Roll Down the River" sort of brings me back to the present moment, to my life with my son. And that's a song that is so interesting from a creative standpoint. I wrote long before my son was born. I wrote it even before I got married. And never really knew what that song was about, but there was something about it that I just loved, and it went through different iterations. I put it down, I picked it back up again, I put it down, I picked it back up. And when it came to put this on the record, I did a final sort of edit through, and I realized this song is for him. This song is for us, for him and me on our journey into the future now. And so it becomes the pivot point at the end of the album to say, yes, you know, all these memories are really worth exploring, but ultimately they need to be in service to the future that you have with whatever your life brings. And for me, it's very much, you know, focused on him, his well-being, and our journey together as a family.
Between your first album and this album, there is much about your family growing up. I mean, the title, "Dreams and Ghosts," the family album, is very literal in that sense. But one of my favorite stories is your backyard Friday nights. I think they're called Fright Nights.
Oh yes, that would be Awful Fest is the official name.
Awful Fest.
Awful Fest. It's a yearly family festival that my dad puts on. How do I describe these films? They are films from the 30s, 40s, 50s. Typically, you know, horror films that, as we like to say, are so bad they're good. You know, these are films that my dad grew up with, that he has enjoyed sharing with us kids, and it all started with his desire to recreate the comfort and excitement of the drive-in in the comfort of our own home. Is basically
where that came from. And so that was a very important part of my growing up.
It's just, I've always loved that. Okay, so let's go to Kerrville again.
Okay.
I mean, I'm in awe of anybody that's a finalist. So
it's a huge honor.
I mean, anybody. I mean, it's just been amazing. So, tell me about your experience. Being a finalist.
It's wonderful. I had been there once before, just as a visitor to the festival in 2014, the first time I went, and just. It's a magical place. Everybody's out on this campground, and every moment of every day there is some music happening somewhere, all through the night, all through the day, and it's a really magical place where people are just so open. Even if you're there for the very first time, or if you've met them for the first time, they will greet you with "Welcome home."
Mm-hmm.
It's a real home for folks. As a finalist, it was just an incredible privilege to be able to play on that Threadgill stage and to be received by such generous listeners. I think that is really the beauty of Kerrville. It's whatever your song is that you have to sing, people are grateful to you for bringing it.
What were the songs that were the winners?
Good question. The first year, I might not get the... Okay, the first year it was The One Who Remembers, and a song that I am still working on called Main Street. That was one of those songs that I think is going to come back, and its meaning is going to be made clear later, right? Sometimes we get these songs and they're fine, but they don't quite resonate yet, and so I need to come back to them later. Their time has not yet come. And then another, in 2019, it was Potholder, which is on this album, and I forget the last one. Oh, no, wait, I got that wrong. I'm sorry. The first year it was Main Street and The Spoon Jar.
Oh, I remember that.
Which is on this album, and then the second year was The One Who Remembers and Potholder. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This is my story. I'm sticking to it.
Right. Well, it's. I mean, I understand that. I think, but I mean, that just shows how prolific you are.
Sure.
You have all these songs. I mean. And I imagine it's hard to remember. What's your favorite song, if I can ask, if there is a favorite on any one of your records?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I really think I have favorite songs to meet different moments. I don't think I'm ever going to have a favorite song. I think it just is a matter of which one I'm thinking about, or which sort of seed of the song is, heavy on my heart or near to my heart at the moment. I mean, that's like choosing your favorite child, and I'm lucky I just have the one. That's it. I can't, I don't know, I could not say what my favorite song is.
Well, okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, I don't know why I asked that question, because how can
it's impossible.
But it does.
I have my favorite song for specific moments.
Right.
I mean,
give me one. Pick a moment and your favorite song.
I mean, obviously, "Roll Down the River" is so close to my heart because it reminds me of Oscar, and you hear his voice at the end of the very end of the record. At the end of that song, we put his voice on there from the first bike ride we ever took together.
Okay.
But I mean, that's only because obviously your own child has to be your favorite of all the people in your family, right? I think I think all of my ancestors would allow for that.
I get that. So, well, tell me, just for fun, a few personal things. How many siblings do you have?
Oh, well, I have one full biological sibling, and then my parents divorced and each remarried. So on each side, I have a stepbrother and a stepsister as well.
Yeah. And what's your dream gig?
Oh my gosh, my dream gig? I don't know. I'm grateful for any gig that I get. Just a gig that... like Kerrville is just full of generous listeners. It's just such a gift to be able to offer something and to be heard and received, and to know, more than anything, to know that the work that I've done to make meaning of my life help somebody else make meaning of theirs. I think that's really the point of art, and that is the hugest gift to me, to know that that work was worth it, not just for me, because I do it first for myself as I sort things out, but to know that that work is useful to other people in ways that I don't have any control over. I don't want control over that. I just want to offer something that can help somebody else find the strength that they need in their everyday lives, or help them find meaning in their own story. That's, I think that's what art is for. That would be the dream gig, to know that folks are finding it meaningful.
Well, I can't say any more to that, but I'm just really, I'm so grateful. Yeah, so thank you for bringing me the CD, but you also brought me a pot holder.
I
which
did. I
love.
brought you a pot holder. Yes. Yes.
It's one of my favorite kinds. So you describe it.
So there's a song on the album called Potholder. When I was about 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I like to say potholders were my love language. You know, I would make these, admittedly with my mother's help, on the square looms, right, with the loops, and pick out the different colors and make the different patterns and give them for birthdays and Christmases. And my Aunt Rinda was, my father's sister, was always so appreciative of these. And when she passed away, my uncle, her widower, gave me a stack of potholders that I had given her as a child. He just said, I think you need to have these. And of course I just started weeping. And it just, reminded me of these tangible, it's cotton, it's just a thing, and yet this is like one of those portals that opens up the past to the present. That's and so I just wanted to explore that story, and to share that story of the love that I had for her, and that I still feel for her. There's and that I still feel coming from her, even though she is not physically of this world. She's still very, very present.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So a little piece of that, my little 5-year-old love language for you here.
I can't. I've met your son since he was born, and it's a pleasure of my life.
Oh.
So,
yes, we've
Avery,
enjoyed
what I'd like to
together.
do is just play a little bit of the clip from your final song as we close.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
Bob.
this.
Thank you.
River flow down below my